Hey guys, welcome back. As you can see, we're mixing it up a little bit. We got a new backdrop. And so what we're doing today is called Think About It Thursday. It's gonna be something that we're gonna be doing to give you something to think about all day on a Thursday. So today, we're gonna give you 4 questions that you can contemplate on all day long.
Think About It Thursday. So today we're going to talk about 4 things that you can use to work through something when your emotions are like wild and on fire. It could be sad, mad, really super happy about something, upset, frustrated, angry. Your thoughts are just like going crazy and your emotions are like colliding together with that. And something is just like really getting to you. Just irked about something or thinking about something.
That's right, so it could be good, mad, bad, sad, ugly, pretty, whatever those things are. You can take a moment and think about one of these 4 questions, right? So here it is. Number 1, be definite. For this question, you want to ask yourself, what exactly am I troubled about? Right? So be definite when asking yourself that question. So if you're overly frustrated, what exactly am I frustrated with, sad with, mad with, overly happy with? Be definite in that answer. Ask yourself that question. What am I troubled about? So real quick, what does that look like when I say be definite? You could have a ton of emotions, all kinds of stuff, right, going on in a scenario. But when you ask yourself, what am I troubled with? What am I frustrated over? You take something that's really broad and bring it down to its finest point. What exactly is getting to me?
Number 2, be rational. Ooh, okay, this is not always the easiest thing to do when emotions are all flared up and you're thinking about something 24/7. And it is definitely not very easy to see what is real. So ask yourself the question, is what I am feeling real?
Good question.
That is not always the simplest when all these emotions are raring and your mind is racing 24/7 with these thoughts of frustration, anger, sad, upset about something, or like super happy about something that like maybe isn't really happening. So we're not saying to deny your emotions because they're there, right? So you got to deal with them, but be rational about them. Think about them. Is what I am feeling real? So being irrational about something is building up something, and maybe it's like creating this whole thing or whole scenario that might not actually be. You might be building up a circumstance in your head that's not really real. It might have started out as something very small, and your thoughts have just compiled and on top and on top and on top. Or maybe you haven't exactly processed the first emotions that you felt about a circumstance, and so all these other ones all day long have just piled on. And when we are irrational, it's not really reasonable, okay? So being unreasonable can cause all kinds of friction. That's what we're trying to stay away from. Be rational, think it through. Is it real? Kind of break it down.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when we have to step back and ask ourselves if we're being rational, it's due to a lot of emotional distress. So what does that look like, right? Maybe you had a lousy night's sleep. Maybe your boss just reamed you because you made a mistake. Maybe your own thoughts are going crazy because you made a mistake. Maybe your kids are driving you nuts because they've been screaming all day, or you just drove home in an hour's worth of traffic and had to sit there, or I don't know.
You're just experiencing a difficulty and it's weighing on you on top of a bunch of other emotions that you haven't worked through.
Right. So that's emotional distress. And then there's this explosion of all your emotions welled up on the child or husband or wife that left their bowl on the counter. You might just haul off on somebody because you had a bad day, and then all of a sudden the bowl on the counter that could have just been like, hey, can you please put your bowl away, is like, get your freaking bowl off the counter, you're grounded, you're doing dishes all week long because of your stupid bowl on the counter. And really that could be dealt with in a much more appropriate manner. So try to be rational about something. Try to take a step back. Don't let those things all build up. Deal with them as they come. Ask yourself, is what I'm feeling real?
It's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Tip number 3, be wise. Listen, I admittedly have not been very good at this for a portion of my life. It took a lot of growth in me to get to this place of having to step back, dial it down a little bit, not bring a blowtorch to the party, and be wise. What does that look like when you say be wise? It is this. Ask yourself the question, how important is this? So what does being wise and asking yourself that question, how important is it, look like in a real life scenario? It kind of looks a little bit like this. When you're thinking about that question, you can look at the scenario and you can say, how important is it to bring it up to this person, or is it something that I can work through, and when I work through it internally, I can come to a resolution? If you cannot come to a resolution, maybe you should bring it up, and then finding out the appropriate time to bring it up. And if you can work it out internally, then you can deal with that, and that frustration and that sadness and those types of emotions that are eroding your wise decision-making process can be cleaned up internally. And the next time you're faced with that situation, you'll be able to walk through it much more seamlessly.
Nailed it. Number 4, be practical. Ask yourself the question, what am I going to do about this scenario? Being practical is just that. How am I going to respond to this? That's it. This is my responsibility now for the action. What action am I going to take? Is it practical that I blow up on somebody because they're driving slow? Is it practical that I blow up on my son for leaving his bowl out? Or would it be practical to say, hey, I've asked you already to put your bowl away, please do that, Is it practical? What is the move and the action that I'm going to take to move through this scenario practically? So wrapping up our Think About It Thursday, we're gonna think about these 4 tips, these 4 questions you can ask yourself whenever you've got a scenario. Be definite. Define what it is exactly that you're troubled with.
Yeah, don't make it about this, that, or the other thing. Just make it about the one thing.
And put it into one sentence. I am blank because of blank.
Yep, that's good stuff.
That's simple.
Yeah.
Be rational. Think about, is what I am experiencing real? Have I built up a scenario, or is what I'm troubled about equal this? So take that next step and be rational about what it is that you're frustrated about. Is it possible that I'm actually upset about this and not really at the other person?
Right.
Just take the scenario for what it is and try to break it down to keep it real.
Yeah.
Be wise. Ask yourself, how important is this?
Yeah, definitely, because you can always bring up a scenario at a later time. You don't have to necessarily do it right there in that moment. Maybe it's the next day, maybe it's at bedtime, maybe it's later in the afternoon after the dust is settled. Look, you be wise. It's your life, it's your decision, it's your scenario, and you can walk through wisdom in your own life.
You find a way to ask yourself what's really important in this situation. It might be something you just need to work out on your own. It might actually be something that's really foolish.
Right. These are just questions we ask ourselves when we're working through a scenario. So your scenario is not going to be ours.
Right.
It's going to be real different. So you go figure it out. Just be wise and ask yourself, how important is this thing that I'm working through?
Yeah. And be practical. So be practical and ask yourself, what am I going to do about this scenario? You may have totally blown these 4 steps. You may have already blown through being rational, and you have just blew up,
It's
right?
like scorched earth now that you're dealing with because you were not practical.
Yeah, the ride to school was terrible, right? So then you can maybe give yourself some time to go through these steps, and if you blew through them, then just get yourself to number 4. What am I gonna do about it? You know, that might require an apology. It might require a mommy timeout. It might require a cold shower.
Yeah.
It might require a run around the block.
Yeah.
That's a step in a direction to say, I'm gonna do this about what happened already.
And that's just being practical. So look, take these 4 questions and contemplate about them all day. And if you have other things to add, put them in the comments below. We don't know it all. These are just things that we work through and we use on our own terms. And if you have something that's even better, share it below. We'd love to hear it.
So this is our Think About It Thursday. We just want you to think about these simple steps that you can take. Good luck. Try to put them in, write them down in your mirror if you want to. If these tips have been good for you, let us know that you appreciate these tips today.
So these are just things that we're trying to give you so that you can put them in your back pocket and think about them when you need to. We're all faced with different scenarios, whether it's a boss, a coworker, a spouse, a drive home, a neighborhood, whatever that scenario might be.
Ourselves.
Yeah, right, exactly. So it might be real simple, think through these questions and get right through them, or it might take you a day or so, and that's okay. Each one of us are different, and it all takes a village. It's our life, it's your life, it's everyday life made beautiful.
Yeah.
Think About It Thursday. We will see you in the next one. Peace.